So far, the American science mission has gone off without a hitch. But major challenges lie ahead.
For the next few days, the ice forecast is that we're going to see a lot more multi-year ice. So the ice conditions we have in front of us are going to be tougher than we've had so far.
On the other side of the planet, the German icebreaker Polarstern carves a path in the Antarctic.
Polarstern is an Arc 3 ice class of the German Lloyd. That is a rather high ice class. That means the ship can withstand the highest pressures of ice under extreme conditions.
The vessel began its expedition in Germany, made a stop in South Africa, and cut through the South Atlantic. The ship and her crew now have to reach the Antarctic ice shelf, just 200 miles away.
We had to go south as fast as possible to Atka ice port. That is the nearest possible point to the Neumeier station.
On the ice shelf, the Germans will unload 280 tons of supplies and more than 36,000 gallons of fuel.
Fuel, spare parts, food, drinks. The ship is the only means to have those goods transported to the ice shelf.
These provisions will sustain their Antarctic research station, Neumeier, for the coming year.
We have a very tough expedition program. We have to make sure that the replenishment job of the Neumeier station is secured.
Back on Healy, the Americans are unlocking the mysteries of this ocean.
We know very little about the geology of the Arctic Ocean. What does the seafloor look like? What does the ocean look like?
We got the bar ready to go?
Ocean Juan Rivera runs Healy's deck crew.
Everything that we do on the ship is very dangerous. I mean, just walking around the decks alone, just traveling from point A to point B, is inherently dangerous with the ice.
And this is one of the reasons why we try to maintain the decks as free of ice as possible. You cannot get rid of 100% of all the ice, but even that is much better than it was before. You get a nice little workout at the same time. I basically am in charge of every single bit of safety item and equipment on the ship, any outdoor deck work with the cranes and the heavy lifting equipment that we have.
Are we good to proceed? Are we good to go?
You are going to be dealing with equipment that is very heavy. One person is not looking in the right direction, and they can easily get knocked onto the side or even killed.
As a U.S. Coast Guard vessel, Healy may also be called upon to respond to ships in distress and to perform search and rescue missions.
Any of the equipment that we're going to use requires some sort of check. The boats are very exposed to the weather, and we have to make sure that the boats are ready to go.
Healy, 1-1 radio check on A3 Alpha. It's cold.
As far as the boat checks in our unit, they're actually some of the most dangerous ones that I have personally seen.
Let's check the deck box.
One of the biggest dangers of this ship is falling over during boat checks. You're actually hanging right over the water, sometimes over ice.
One slip, and they could fall 40 feet into the 20-degree water.
We have to do that no matter what, you know, rain, sleet, any type of weather conditions.
"9,000 miles away, deep in the Antarctic, 24-year-old Officer Carola Raqueta is on the bridge, navigating the German icebreaker Polarstern on her voyage to the ice shelf.
I've been on 3 polar cruises. I actually had the luck to go to the North Pole on my very first cruise on this vessel.
Carola and the Germans have to deliver critical provisions to Neumeier, their only year-round Antarctic research station.
Going through the ice is a lot more complicated than going through open water. You have to always have a good look at the ice situation around you. If we have some small pools, then we try to go from one pool to the other. The pressure in the middle of the floes is very, very high, so we could get stuck there.
After traveling more than 5,000 nautical miles across 2 continents, Carola and Polarstern are just a day away from the ice shelf.
Das ist dann so, Dauereis ist mehrjähriges Eis.
More than 100 miles from Neumayer, with no hope of rescue, Polarstern gets stuck. Ice can form quickly in these frigid temperatures, and its increasing pressure can damage and even destroy a ship's hull.
You must take any means of freeing the vessel and rocking the vessel by changing the weight from side to side. It's a very old-fashioned but effective trick.
The captain will use a special pump system to move the ballast water from one side of the ship to the other, causing the vessel to rock back and forth, loosening it from the ice.
You can see the degrees turning. Start with 0.5 and now we have 0.7 to one side.
The ship remains stuck. Deep in the Arctic, the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Healy continues her mapping and science mission in our planet's polar extremes. They are in the northernmost leg of this expedition. The scientist and Coast Guard crew on board must spend the next 7 days in this harsh environment.
It's really cold.
We've gone from 50, 60 degree weather near Barrow, Alaska to teens. And in addition to all of that, we've been having rain, snow, ice.
The average annual temperature in the high Arctic is 7 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can drop to as low as -90. With hundreds of miles separating her and the nearest ship, Healy and her crew are on their own.
See if we can get some of that ice out of there with that plug.
And after being out to sea for more than 3 weeks, breaking ice can take its toll.
Hey, watch out, they're revving up!
Being on an icebreaker is extremely challenging. 12 to 16-hour days, 100-mile-per-hour winds, freezing temperatures. We sacrifice a lot being up here. So we have the morale committee, we hold events, we give away prizes. We have sumo night tomorrow night, that's a morale event.
9,000 miles away, the Germans face a dangerous situation. Their 20,000 horsepower icebreaker has been seized by the Antarctic ice, which now exerts immense pressure against the ship's hull. But with his 17 years of experience, Captain Paul has another idea.
Put about 12 tons of weight on the crane hook, and we swing the crane from side to side.
This method of shifting the ship's weight has been used to free vessels from the ice since the days of famed polar explorer Ernest Shackleton.
Shackleton's ships had no crane, so they took all the men on board and run them from one side to the other and swing the vessel by those men.
12 tons of weight swings back and forth across Polarstern. Finally, the shift in weight releases her from Antarctica's icy grip. But with another 100 miles until they reach the ice shelf, Polarstern will face her biggest obstacle yet. Icebergs.
Discovery World is delving deep into the
German icebreaker Polarstern has just survived a close call. After 6 dangerous hours stuck in thick ice, Captain Uwe Paul was finally able to free his ship.
No one goes to school is teaching them. That is simply learning by doing.
Now this captain is very experienced. great for every young officer to work with him because he has a lot of patience. Everybody can learn from his experience.
Jo, danke. Ich melde mich dann wegen Bordmaschine nochmal, ne? Okay.
As safety officer, it's Carola Roqueta who must ensure that the Germans are prepared for any emergency.
I have to take care of all the life-saving appliances like lifeboats and personal life-saving vests or immersion suits.
Das merkst du hier auch, wenn du reinfasst, hier in das Innenfutter.
These two are testing waterproofness of our immersion suits, so they will actually put their suits on and have a swim. Most things need to be checked once a month. Some, like the breathing apparatus for firefighting, we check them every week.
But the most important life-saving equipment, Polarstern's 4 lifeboats.
If the vessel is lost, then the lifeboats are our means of rescue, so we need to make sure that they are working well.
In 2007, the RV Explorer, a cruise ship designed to sail the Antarctic, was lost to the ice. All 100 passengers and 54 crew members were forced onto life rafts and had to wait hours for rescue. Polarstern wants to avoid Explorer's fate. But today's weather conditions, with frigid temperatures and heavy snow, makes this test a bit more dangerous.
If somebody fall out of the boat, they might freeze before we are able to pick them up. They are all equipped with sufficient rations, as well as medical treatment.
These lifeboats would be the only chance of survival for the crew and scientists if they had to abandon Polarstern.
We could never go through the ice with the boats. They're just to keep everybody safe until somebody comes to help us.
In the high Arctic, Healy continues her voyage with the American science team compiling climate data and
on the bridge, and he saw something exciting. They just pressed the button with the walkie-talkies and leopard seal, starboard side, 3 o'clock, close by, and then we ran off, leopard seal. Ooh, yeah. A leopard seal, maybe together with the emperor penguin, one of the most enigmatic species of the Antarctic. Weird thing is that it seems to be smiling all the time. Big mouth.
the better to eat penguins with. The leopard seal, along with the killer whale, is one of the Antarctic's apex predators.
Leopard seal is an exciting species, absolutely one of my favorites. If it's a minke whale, maybe I'll stay in my room because we've seen many minke whales and it's not that exciting to see a minke whale. Fun, cool to watch. Compared to most of the scientists on board who has very advanced techniques to do their survey, we mainly have a page and our binoculars. We sit in front of the window, note down whatever is passing by. Yeah, it just saw below. We try to look for birds and cetaceans. So we go for the whales, the albatrosses and the penguins and the seals.
It's a humpback?
It's a humpback, yeah. This is the counting of today, and we saw 4 snow petrels and 1 crab eater.
Is it blow? Blow at 12 o'clock, 4 kilometers?
Though it may appear that Dominic and his Belgian team are simply sightseeing animal enthusiasts, they are actually performing important scientific fieldwork.
If you want to protect a species appropriately, you have to know how many and where they live. You see the warming of the ocean. Some species are getting into trouble, their numbers are going down. If you see that there's a specific trend, you can raise the alarm bell to save the species.
Another day, another leopard seal.
Sometimes when you're really excited and you get a call, you don't want to lose too much time to put your socks on and to put your boots on.
That's nice.
Dominic and the Belgians on Polarstern have had some success spotting animals from the ship, but they'll soon get a better view when they take to the skies. A world away in the Arctic Ocean, the U.S. Coast Guard's icebreaker sits idle.
Hey, see if we can get out now.
Rookie crew member Josh Reyes and the American scientists aboard Healy have just deployed their CTD.
The CTD is a continuity, temperature, and depth sensor. It's basically a big carousel of these water chambers that will deploy.
The device is lowered 2 miles to just above the seafloor. Then the CTD will be brought back up slowly, with specific chambers closing at predetermined depths.
We'll take water samples at increments during descent.
The device has to travel 2 miles, or more than 7 Empire State Buildings, down.
Down. Deep down. So now we wait. Meters a second. You do the math. It's gonna be a little while. It's gonna be a little while.
The samples collected will help determine the water's sound speed profile, which scientists will need to accurately map the ocean floor using sonar. Thousands of miles away on the German icebreaker, Dominic gets the ultimate view of the Antarctic.
Usually I take the front seat.